truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. Oh,
Donald Trump makes a historic speech in Florida, lays emphasis on slogan "Make America Great."
And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America.
Vice President-elect J.D. Vance congratulates Trump during the speech, calls the victory the greatest political comeback.
people have told me that God spared my life for a reason.
After making a stronger comeback, Trump says God spared me for a reason, promises a better, bolder, and an incredible future for the United States of America. Congratulatory messages pour in for Donald Trump, from Prime Minister Modi to French President Emmanuel Macron to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Volodymyr Zelensky. World leaders make a beeline to congratulate Donald Trump. After Trump's landslide victory, Kremlin issues a statement, says Putin does not plan to congratulate Trump on his victory. Iran's currency hits an all-time low. Bitcoin and dollar up as Donald Trump trumps Kamala Harris in US elections 2024. Former President Joe Biden had essentially said that Trump's election to the White House was essentially an aberrant moment which should have been corrected, and his election to the White House was the correction that he was talking about. It turns out that in the history of United States of America, Donald Trump becomes the second president to have been elected back to the White House. Only second president to have seen that happening. In fact, it turns out that it's a historic mandate for Donald Trump. Reason being that at least the 7 crucial states, which typically would have gone to at least the opponent, has actually now gone, all of them, to Donald Trump. It's turning out to be a decisive mandate for Donald Trump. Now, what does that essentially mean for the world? Now, that's going to be our focus. In a short while from now, we're going to break it down in terms of the key issues that Donald Trump really stands for. And what does this mean for India? That's going to be our focus tonight. But first, take a look at how did Donald Trump really manage to get this historic mandate.
Next to you and remember still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country, and maybe beyond.
Donald Trump has painted the US map with red after his landslide victory in the US presidential election.
When it left, it was beautiful, shiny white. When it
Trump beat Kamala Harris in what was touted to be the toughest presidential race in decades.
I said, what happened to your paint job? He said, we've never made a paint that could...
He won the battleground states of Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and Georgia, helping him secure more than 270 electoral votes. The 78-year-old outran Kamala Harris despite several controversies and criminal charges like the New York hush money case, the classified documents case, as well as the election interference case. His protectionist policy aimed at strengthening American economy and trade, giving more jobs to Native Americans, and ending wars in the Middle East worked in his favor.
Take a look what happened.
An assassination attempt during a rally in Pennsylvania in July, in which he, despite being shot at, fist pumped the air as a sign of courage, turned his opponents into sympathy votes.
God bless you and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
This was the third time Donald Trump ran for the top job. He became president of the United States for the first time in 2017, but lost his re-election bid to Joe Biden in 2020. In his victory speech, he thanked his supporters and said that this is the golden age for America and he will make the country great again.
Every single day I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again.
The curtains have closed on the polls, but for America, this is the new dawn under Trump 2.0.
Well, should India really be rejoicing with Donald Trump back in the White House? Because given the fact that both the leaders, Prime Minister Modi and Donald Trump, share a personal equation, what does this essentially mean for India-US relationship? Joining me right now is also my colleague and our senior executive editor, Abhishek Kapoor. Peter Kuznick is also joining us in a short while from now. We're also going to be joined by the former ambassador to United States of America, Ambassador Taranjit Singh Sandhu. Ambassador Sandhu, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. Let me straight away begin by asking you this question with regards to India-US relationship. The very fact that this relationship has tested time, be it any administration over the last 25 years, it has only perhaps flourished. What, in your opinion, would be the upcoming major challenges that this relationship witnesses?
I think you yourself have underlined that the India-US relationship is being bipartisan, and I think nothing more shows than in the last 10 years. You take a look at Prime Minister Modi's rapport with President Obama, then President Trump in his first tenure, and then President Biden, and this time again from January 20th, it will be Trump administration. So I think I would put the relationship in two aspects. One is the long term. The long-term relationship has actually transformed into a partnership. It touches on areas like the strategic, healthcare, IT, digital startup, all that area, the new emerging technologies, including what is semiconductors, artificial intelligence, and then, of course, the energy partnership, and finally, the education and knowledge partnership. So all this will only deepen further. Short term, there will be definitely issues, there will be challenges, which you asked about. I can immediately point to three of them. One will be a challenge on trade. They will also be on tariffs. and then on illegal immigrations. So these three, but we have seen in the past that that is the job of both the administrations to handle that, and I'm confident that both sides will be able to tackle those.
Ambassador Sandhu, if I could come in and if you could compare, or if you help us compare how the Trump administration was in its first term, 2016 to 2020, and how the Biden-Harris administration has been, during which, in fact, you were there in Washington, D.C. as well. You think that with our experience of the last 4 years, the Trump administration 2.0 perhaps would be only better for India?
I think more important is because the relationship is moving. And as I've told you that in all these areas, the relationship was not necessarily there earlier. For example, when we talk of pharmaceuticals, today you can go to any of the pharmacy in the United States and you will see that, for example, the fever-reducing medicines are made in India. There are a number of co-productions and co-developments of vaccines, of affordable medicines. So this aspect will move further, and we are always wiser with the experience. So if we take a look at what was the first Trump administration, in fact, at end of the first Trump administration, if you look at the Indo-Pacific strategy, which was put out by them in public, India plays a very significant role in that. And if you look at the Indo-Pacific strategy, which was put out by Biden administration, it was a continuation and further deepening. So I certainly see that in Trump administration 2.0, the relationship will further deepen.
Ambassador Sandhu, please stay with us. Two more questions. If I could be allowed to get into more specifics. The manner in which the whole Bangladesh episode has really panned out over the last few months, and the US role has been talked about. The manner in which the Biden-Harris, under the watch of Biden-Harris administration, Pakistan was resupplied with the F-16 maintenance contract. The manner in which we have seen a bit of a push and shove on the issues of freedom of expression, the manner in which we have seen the entire Sikhs for Justice / Khalistan issue really panning out over the last year and a half. I believe you would agree, Ambassador Sandhu, that things actually were not that good despite all the optics. So perhaps on those fronts, would you say that things would improve?
I don't think I have any hesitation to disagree with you. I've not come to do a debate with you. But because you have said that that was only optics, I think there are 275,000 Indian students in the United States. They don't go there for optics. They go for substance. And I think 2/3 of them are in what is science and technology branch. They look, the number of CEOs there. So let us not bring down the relationship. When I spoke to you of all those 5 lines, 5 areas, that is much more deeper. Look, the relationship between 2 countries and 2 people have deep dimensions. Just because there are challenges and there are some troublesome people, we don't necessarily bow down to them and say they take over the relationship. I think the United States and India relationship, definitely on which I have served, I can see in the last 25 years and particularly in the last 10 years, how it has moved up. And I have no hesitation to say that these challenges are only on the side and they will be knocked out. The real relationship between the 2 countries will only deepen.
Ambassador Sandhu, just to take this forward in terms of geopolitics and the current situation, President-elect Trump assumes office at a time when the situation is extremely volatile. We're looking at least 2 situations, one Russia, Ukraine, and the other being in Israel. A mercurial leader like President Trump, what does it mean in today's time, given the fact that one would expect a little bit of more maturity in dealing with a very, very volatile situation?
So look, you have the freedom to put any adjectives. I don't have to necessarily own those adjectives. I think in the past and in the future you will see a mature approach of United States, because you have seen many people give adjectives for many countries. But you are perfectly right in saying that it's a very challenging time. The two problems you have enumerated definitely have to be tackled. As the President of United States, it will be the responsibility of President Trump after 20th of January to take initiative on these. He has said that he will take initiative, and I can certainly with confidence say that India has already assumed the role of problem solver. Prime Minister Modi has taken a number of initiatives, and India will be an important player, an important actor in resolving these. These problems need to be resolved, and I'm sure that the countries will come together and we will not move towards a World War III situation.
Very valid
That is
point you
not
made.
in the interest of anyone.
So, last question before we let you go. Since you mentioned that we are not actually going to move towards World War III now, just some more specifics. You think President Trump is going to make sure that the war in Europe, as he promised, tapers off, cools off, things cool off, the war sort of ends somehow? Is he going to make an outreach to Russia, to President Putin? Is he going to go back to his days of Abraham Accords and make sure that the Middle East is peaceful again? And how?
So look, I'm not advisor to President Trump, but I can fairly guess that as the President of the United States, it will be his responsibility to his country and to the world. And he will take a number of initiatives. What kind of those initiatives are going to be, it's only a guess. But nevertheless, the aim and the objective, as he has indicated very clearly, will be to resolve the situation, to get everybody to come together and bring peace back to the world. As I said, look, the World War III is not in the interest of anyone. And therefore, very responsible countries in the world, including India, will play an active role in trying to resolve this situation. How it will be done? Certainly, it's not an easy situation. But look, when there are challenges, that's where opportunities arise too.
Well, thank you very much, Ambassador Sandhu, for taking out the time and speaking to Republic TV and putting this into perspective, because who better than you, Ambassador Sandhu, to understand the changing time, someone who's spent a considerable time understanding the administration in United States of America.
I'll just take one more minute.
Yep.
And
Please
I
go ahead.
am just reminded, since I'm on Republic, in 2020, and Arnab will remember, we did an interview. At that time, COVID had struck. And everybody was saying it's an impossible situation. What will the United States do? Take out my interview. I mentioned that United States, in terms of technology, will come out with solutions with vaccines. And it did by end of the year. So therefore, this is not rhetoric. I'm sure, and that time too, President Trump was the President of the United States. I'm sure this situation requires full attention, and we will get the attention of the top leaders of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, in fact, let's also take you through how is the world really viewing this, and particularly as far as India is concerned. Peter Guznik, I'm sorry for the delay in bringing you in, but before I just come to you and take that first question, let me just take our viewers through what does the presidency of Trump essentially mean for India? Because the kind of assertions that have been made during the campaigning, it's got a direct impact as far as India relations are concerned. Let's try and decipher that. One is with regards to the announcement that has been made particularly about the tariffs. The higher tariffs on Chinese products given his position on China. Let's take you through the others. India's export could actually get that impetus, that advantage. That could be the other. The energy costs that we are looking at, that could see a substantial change, a decrease perhaps. Indian oil companies may really benefit from this relationship given the fact that you have certain deals in the pipeline. Manufacturing, defense sectors could also grow given how India has done that hard bargaining negotiation when it comes to the manufacturing sector and particularly defense. Companies running in both the nations may also gain. Of course, there is a fear in terms of the protectionist view that has been taken by the Trump administration in the past. Supply chain efficiency may also improve. So these are some of what we are essentially looking at, the immediate gains that can actually happen with President Trump at the helm of affairs. Opportunities for Indian defense firms. So put together how exactly in the days to come the business climate could also improve. And that is one of the reasons why the Indian diaspora in the United States of America appear to be extremely gung-ho about the re-election of Donald Trump. Indian equity markets, of course, you've already seen the kind of response that has come in from the markets from the time there was a projection that Donald Trump could become the 47th president of the United States of America. Again, a thumbs up really coming in from the markets too. Let me also go back to my colleague Abhishek Kapoor as well as Peter Koznick, who's joining us on this broadcast. Peter Koznick, in terms of how does the world really view this entire situation? Of course, they would be edgy, particularly the European nations at this point in time, with President-elect Trump being extremely vocal about A, NATO, B, how he essentially views the burden that the United States of America has been taking with regards to the Ukraine war.
Trump is in many ways a wild card. People don't know exactly what to expect, but based on what he did during his first 4 years in office and what he said during the campaign, the Europeans are quite alarmed because his comments like, Putin, do whatever you want to the European countries that don't pay their fair share. That kind of comment and attitude is quite alarming to United States European partners. Biden, from the day he took office, did everything he could to strengthen America's relations with its allies. Trump had a very, very different approach, a transactional approach. He wanted, even with countries like Japan and South Korea, he said, if you want us to protect you, you're going to have to bear the burden of the cost. So Trump is a different kind of player in this regard. When it comes to Ukraine, my sense was that regardless of which candidate won, the Ukraine war would be coming to an end. And that's because of the reality on the battlefield. The Ukrainians have been outgunned, outmanned, outmaneuvered. And the longer the war goes on, not only the more Ukrainians and Russians who will be killed and wounded, but also the more territory Ukraine will be losing. So I think that the world is coming to the realization that Russia will not be driven out of Ukraine. And the sooner we negotiate a diplomatic end to this fighting, the better. However, so that Trump will accelerate that. I think that would be a positive, given how few good alternatives we have. But when it comes to the Middle East, I'm not nearly as sanguine. Trump, when he was president, ignored the Palestinians. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem over the complaints of much of the world. And recently has been not only supportive of Netanyahu, who wanted to see Trump reelected, but he has criticized Kamala Harris and Biden for their very mild criticism of Netanyahu. He urged Israel to actually bomb the nuclear sites in Iran in retaliation. That is a very, very frightening and reckless approach. So Netanyahu, who's already been relatively unfettered, will be completely unfettered at this point. And had Israel bombed those nuclear sites in Iran, the best case scenario would have been a broader regional war. The worst case scenario would have been either a much wider global conflagration or Iran deciding to develop its nuclear weapons.
All right.
Let's remember that it was the United States under Trump who abrogated the Iran nuclear deal, which kept Iran a year away from developing a nuclear weapon. Now Iran, since that's been abrogated, has enriched uranium to 60%, where it used to be 3.67%, has increased the number of centrifuges, built up its supply, and Iran is probably a couple weeks away from a nuclear weapon now. So that situation is also fraught.
Well, Peter Kuznick, one would essentially see how exactly President Trump tries to diffuse the entire situation. I'll just request you to stay on with us as we slip into a short break. On the other side, we get into the big picture that really emerges, particularly what really happens with the hard positioning that President-elect Trump has taken on alliances like the NATO. Coming up on the other side.
Thank you very much. Wow. Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country, and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? So I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. We also have won the popular vote. That was great. Very proud of that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And, winning the popular vote was very nice, I will tell you. It's a great feeling of love. We have a great feeling of love in this very large room with unbelievable people standing by my side. These people have been incredible. They've made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. I hope that you're going to be looking back someday and say that was one of the truly important moments of my life when I voted for this group of people beyond the president, this group of great people. And in those cases, every one of them America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate.
It was predicted to be a neck-to-neck race between Vice President Kamala Harris and the former President Donald Trump. But it has now turned out to be a decisive victory for Donald Trump. So much so, only second president in the history of United States of America of coming back to power after losing one. So what really worked for Donald Trump, particularly at a time when we've seen a vitriolic campaigning taking place in the US? Key issues starting from immigration to abortion to geopolitical issues, on which many would say Donald Trump had taken a very hard positioning. So what really worked for Donald Trump? Take a look at this report.
This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again.
In one of the tightest battles in the US history, Trump has emerged victorious in the 47th US presidential elections.
Going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about